Welcome, my friends, to episode number 18 of Disaster Podcaster. I'm going to jump right into it today. No fluff. Today, we are talking about the ever-growing fatigue and burnout in our industry from fighting to get paid for insurance companies. This is going to be kind of a heavy topic, and this is certainly probably going to relate more to a specific audience of those that listen to us. Those of you that are technicians and other positions, you might be inclined to tune out, but I'd like you to stick around because this plays into your role in a major way. I'm going to have a call to action at the end for everybody that's listening, and it will include anyone in an operation. So if you're an owner of a company, I'd like you to possibly share this and your thoughts about this. Have the discussion, but let this be something you share with your team. We're always looking for training opportunities with our team. Let this be part of that, and then have a discussion, and you'll know what I'm talking about afterwards. Restoration Advisors is a company that I own, and we are a coaching firm, a consultant, if you will. We do training, we do leadership development for restoration companies to try to help entrepreneurs in this space grow their business, not only bigger, but better, and have it be the company of their dreams, both profit-wise, passion-wise, and fill their cup up. So a lot of the topics we talk about will be around sometimes technical things, sometimes are the gadgets of the industry, sometimes it's interviews with those that make the industry work, whether they be from instructors or vendors, and sometimes there are other restorers that you may or may not know from being popular or famous. So we kind of try to mix it up here. I try my best to every week information from feedback from various groups that I own or I'm part of, as well as feedback from our topics and stuff like that. And speaking of feedback, our last podcast was with Andy McCabe, and we had a rebel reunion, if you will. It was called Clearing the Air with Andy McCabe, and we got a lot of great feedback. It was a really long podcast for us. It was an hour and 50 minutes, and we kind of went into some of the history of the rebels and brought back some of the reasons why, and it really inspired me. It brought back a lot of answering some questions about what am I doing here and why am I doing everything that I do, because I commit a lot of time and effort into things that don't have anything to do with my business that are more industry focused. Let me get this microphone straightened out here. So today I am here to discuss something that I believe that many of you will resonate with and relate to and probably and hopefully have comments about. I would like this to be one of those podcasts wherever you're watching this, either listening to it as a podcast, on my YouTube channel, on our Facebook group. We put it a lot of different places. We have Disaster Podcaster. The topic is as I go through my weeks, I know and speak to a lot of people in this space. Some very small, some are sizable with big companies. And a common theme that I'm seeing, or more prevalent theme, is fatigue from the fight of trying to get paid. The insurance processes and procedures have gotten to be, I don't know if they've gotten harder. Maybe they have. It's hard to tell. I think we're kind of boiling frogs at that point where the water, it's just hot and it's boiling. I think it's just the year after year, quarter after quarter, month after month, job after job, it's the same thing. And it's causing a lot of people to just be tired of it, burnout. If I were to look into this lens and talk to most of the industry, myself included, you got into this industry in some way or another, and you kind of got hooked onto it. There's a certain character and a certain behavior that attracts you to this industry, and that's probably serving other people. It's probably serving customers. I mean, let's be honest. Obviously, profit is very important to a lot of people, but serving people, the best in this industry will tell you they love to help their community, homeowners, business owners, whatnot. A smaller percentage, but hopefully growing, love to build a company and develop other leaders. And they love to see junior men and women that work for them become future superstars. And that's it. But we're getting pulled away from that, and I want to talk about that today. So I want to talk about the big problem first. We'll have some examples, and then we're going to, obviously, I love now to talk about outcomes. And I want to pause there and tell you that I'm coming back, and this is all going to tie in. I'm coming back. Today is, mid-November, and every year, usually right around the same time, give or take a week, I take 1 week and I go to a pretty remote area of Montana, to a cabin, kind of, some people would say it's probably a house. I wouldn't say it's a wood-burning stove. I would love that, believe it or not. I would love no power, candles, wood-burning stove. But it's a humble place, and I go every year for as much of a week as I can. Sometimes it's 4 or 5 days. And I go purely with the intention to go disconnect and work on me, where I'm at currently, my headspace, and then a plan for next year, next calendar year, next cycle, or whatever you want to consider. I'm always working on a new business, or I'm working on improving or growing or evolving one that I already have. And that's hard to do on the battlefield. That's hard to do when things are coming at you at all times and calls are coming. So, it's time blocking. All of the greats, all the great business people in the world have written endlessly, and you can't ignore what they've written. They've written and talked about. You have to time block, and you have to know when it's time to rest and time to shut down and go away and work on things. And that's what I did. So I've had, I won't go into it, but I've had a hell of a year. I've had one of the hardest years in my life, health-wise, things like that. And I overcame it. And I pushed through, and honestly, business-wise, growth, evolution, probably had one of the best years of my business so far. We really tried some new things, and I say we, Toby and I. Toby's been an instrumental part of a lot of this. Tried new things, and they paid off, and they created a lot more opportunity, a lot more visibility of our success and results for our customers and those that we serve. So our podcast has really gotten a whole lot better. Our blog, if you aren't getting that, you should subscribe to our blog. It's on our webpage. I feel that creates a constant, predictive, weekly value to the industry. And those things are coming back to us. And that's what I would recommend. We're serving more. We found new ways to do that and to connect, and it's paying its dividends. So I had a really, really tough year. I did end up going down to Hurricane Ian, got the names all mixed up, and planted myself down there for a few weeks and did a pre-launch of a company that I'm building down there, and it was successful. So I have now Restoration Advisors. I have a new company called CATX, CATX, that you'll be hearing more about in the future. It's going to be all around commercial divisions in your company, doing catastrophe work and things like that. But the training part, the getting ready in the spring and in the summer so that you can handle those. And then the commercial all year round, where you are now in the residential space, adding commercial to that. So it's going to be a training and consulting firm. And then, of course, helping people once they're down into the storms. I'm watching far too many great restorers talk about fatigue and burnout and honestly some other things. And these are people who have invested a lot of money into their own personal development in this space, lots of shows and conventions and networks, lots of colleagues and friends, endless courses, whether they be IICRC, Xactimate, business development, different consultant, business growth, retreat, business planning. There's just been so much investment to build something. And then we've got this really tough thing on the other side pushing against us. And I think over a long period of time, that thing with its consistency has gotten to become the bigger voice that we're hearing. And I'm watching a lot of great people. And if you've ever listened to me speak before, you follow me, you'll hear me say that I think only 8% of this industry deserves a really good title of being called professional and excellent. That's checking a lot of different boxes. There are a lot of really good drying guys and cleaning guys, but I'm talking people who run a great company, profitable, safety-wise, culture-wise, give back to their community, give back to the industry, and owners that are creating new leaders. And I think those, the 8%. Some people tell me that number is too high, which really, really scares me. But when I say that, it doesn't mean that there's not another 40% who are trying. And that is why I do what I do. I give free information all day, all the time online. I'm teaching and coaching as well as for my practice for free. So there's a lot of people. So, but I'm watching that 8% dwindle, or the light get a little dim and a little low. And that's bad, because that's going to mean a lot of things. Your staff, your team, your company is watching you as the leader. And when you get into that space where you want to fight the insurance company, we forget that we're here to serve a customer, but we're fighting to get paid. Hey, listen, it's necessary. I get it. But it's consuming people. It's just too much. It's too heavy. It's too often. And it seems like it's nothing you adapt, nothing you change is doing anything. I get calls. Toby gets calls. Probably every consultant in this industry gets a call from people, clients or non. How can I get the insurance company to pay me? I'm always going to be that guy that tells you the insurance company does not pay you. If you are pursuing payment from the insurance company, you're doing it wrong. You just are. You work for a customer. You work for a consumer, usually probably a policyholder. But I wouldn't treat them like a policyholder. I don't like when people call their customers a policyholder. That's labeling them as someone who has insurance that's going to pay us. We think that way. We think that if it wasn't for insurance, we wouldn't have an industry. That might be true, but that customer purchased a risk insurance policy in case they had a loss or a peril or a tragedy at their home, and that insurance is supposed to reimburse them for what's fair and reasonable. That's the word. But the insurance companies have learned. I mean, we know all about delayed and not offend. We've talked about that ad nauseum. They know the power they yield. What they don't know is that we as an industry, and I'm teaching onboarding classes, check with me and get signed up for our next version of our client onboarding. Get in front of that client, onboard them to know that they are in charge, that they are the one that owes you, but they should also be holding their insurance company accountable to pay them and reimburse them. All of this, we don't pay for that, we don't pay for this, we don't pay for that. None of that is in the policy. And if it is, then the customer owes you for it. But it doesn't mean you can run a job without supervisors. It doesn't mean you have to negotiate your bills. But that's the thing is happening is everyone is slashing their invoices just to get paid for the cash flow so that they can keep growing and make their payroll. But just remember that when you're in your office and you get off the phone with Jake at State Farm and you're cussing them up and down, don't forget it's like being a parent. Your kids are watching. Your staff see your tone and demeanor, and that's what they're going to do. They might talk in the same way about other professionals. Insurance companies are literally, your enemy are not the adjusters. They're doing their job. Let's stop taking it so personal, and let's shift our focus to the homeowner, to the client, to the person we promise to serve. Let's help them through their losses. Now, in my onboarding class, what's important that you should do is start learning the tactics to identify in the beginning whether this is the right customer for you. It all begins with that. Is this a customer that needs the service I have? Do they value the quality that I do? Will they agree to the prices and stuff that I charge? And will they sign a contract for my dollar amount? And will they fight for themselves to get reimbursed? And then at the end of the day, if their insurance company does treat them horribly, when you don't, but their insurance does, will they own up to their obligation and pay you the difference and fight their insurance company? If that's a no, don't do the job. Walk away. And I know that's hard. And that comes from you not having multiple streams of income where you don't have the ability to walk away from jobs. And that's where you need to be doing. All of this is going to come around to that in just a minute. So, but I will tell you, when we're in this fight, it causes you to shut down and sink into your company. A lot of people I'm talking about that have reached out to me, Clark, I'm burnout. I'm exhausted. I'm just tired of it. These are the same people who join me at industry events and work on our industry as a group, as a tribe. And they're less available for that when they're burnt out. They don't have the capacity. They don't have the passion and the want. So they're hurting their company. They're hurting the client, the customer, by paying attention to the wrong thing. And then they're hurting their own staff and the growth of their people and knowing that they're following a leader. Does that make sense? So these are kind of some of the symptoms of that. I want to give you some examples, some burnout. Owners that, I recommend turning over your collections to somebody else that's not so emotionally attached to it. You're getting burnt out because you take it real personal, because when an insurance company or an adjuster calls and cuts your bill, says they're not going to pay, homeowner keeps a check, you take it personally, like they're robbing from you. And in essence, they kind of are. But they're not doing it to you as a person. They're just not great people, and they want that money more than they want to pay you for it. So I'm watching burnout of a lot of great people. I'm seeing this distraction cause people not to focus on the fundamentals of a business: growth, sales, being energetic and getting in their community, despite the bullshit. Go out and build relationships to get more work. Hopefully get work that doesn't have to do anything with the insurance company, but more people on your team to combat against that. When you can tell an insurance company or an adjuster that you're not a crook because you're connected to everybody in the community and you have endless reviews, you're not the crook. You're not the bad guy. You can combat against that. But when they're trying to blacklist you and talk bad about you, and you have no credibility, it's a little harder for you to fight against the behemoth than that. But little people have power too, and don't forget that. And the insurance companies don't want you to have that power. They want you off your game. Maybe this is all by design. Maybe they say, if we just keep picking, we can take everybody apart and get everybody on a program and control the claim from beginning to end, because that's all they're trying to do. They should be making their money off of the premium versus payout. They should be making their money on the delta, but yet they call insurance or restoration contractors or any contractor and negotiate rates. So they're actually making money on the claim side as well. It's not required. It's unethical, and none of that helps your customer, unless you think that the customer not having to pay you in full is helping them. But all they have to do is force their insurance company to pay in full, and they will. I see it every day and all day. You're just not doing it. You don't focus on that. You think that a relationship with the insurance company is going to help you get more business or get the next job paid. A lot of people will not stand up, and I wouldn't stand up against the insurance company. Just be customer focused. Tell your receptionist and whoever answers the phone, we don't answer the phone for insurance companies. If somebody calls, take a message. Let's call the client and say, hello, Mrs. Jones, your insurance company's called me. I have a policy of not dealing with them without you, and I'm not going to. So you might want to call them and see what they need. Mrs. Jones say, oh, well, they said you're charging too much. And I said, I'm not charging too much. So next, that thing is still due. The invoice is still due on the same day. They're just stalling, Mrs. Jones. What are you going to do about it? Because I'm going to have to take action. I've got to do collections. I got to start a lien. I've got to get paid. I did the work. I was there 2 a.m, and I'm going to get paid. So I'm watching sales take that and just pure defeat. Again, the creativity, the passion that you have for the industry. I'm watching good people just deplete. I will tell you, on a few cases, I watch this affect people's home life and marriage. And that's when shit gets real. When this burnout goes home with you, when the anxiety stays at 11 out of 10, and you come home anxious and still talking about the fight and taking phone calls, and you end up micromanaging your team, you're angry about everything, and it kind of gets misplaced to everybody else. Bad. These are examples. Another interesting thing here is not everyone is a fighter. So you've got those that are just of the character where they aren't made to fight insurance companies or anyone for that matter. They're just passive in that way. Just it's who they are. It's a character. They're more of a get along person. They honey versus vinegar, if you will. Nothing wrong with that. There's just a time when there has to be vinegar. And some people have to fight. I've chosen to stand up. I don't even have a restoration company. Well, I do. I have a restoration company, but I don't, it's not in this residential realm. But I've chosen the last 5-6 years with the start of the Rebels to fight this, to make it better, to leave this industry better than we found it, because we're finding it today as a steaming pile of Cat 3. So I really see a lot of people who aren't fighters taking this heat, taking this pressure, and it not manifesting itself well. And then I will tell you, I'm watching a lot of people take the road of, I think I'll just sell my company. Everybody knows that mergers and acquisitions are very, very popular. Many of you probably get lots of phone calls with people interested, and you've been saying no for a while because you still had dreams and you still think you want to turn this into something. You wanted to see where you could take it. The entrepreneur in you wants to do that. But now it's starting to kind of feel like maybe I will sell. Maybe it's time. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe there's something better for me to do. Those are all real. I mean, there may be. If your passion's not in this, I certainly think you should be looking for an exit strategy. But if your passion still is and you're just getting beat up by the insurance company, let's work on this together. Us, you, me. Let's continue. I will pick up the phone and help anybody that's dealing with this burnout. Because what I'll probably do is just tell you you're focusing on the wrong things. I'll be the friend that tells you what other people aren't telling you. When we're in this defensive mode where we're fighting with the insurance company or defending ourselves, defending is a good word, but I think what's important is to remember a few things, and I wrote them down here. I want you to remember your training. I said in the beginning of this, you've invested a lot of time and energy and momentum into training to become a professional at remediation, at drying, at fire cleaning, reconstruction, trauma, mold remediation. You whatever it is, you have invested. And that's what it takes to be good at something. A period of time, consistent work, failures, and you've done all that, and you're still doing it. No one can take that away from you, okay? Insurance company, all these things I'm going to list next, insurance companies are not giving you credit for these things. They're dismissing you like you're just another person in the industry. They also don't have a contract with you. There is no attachment, and you need to remember that. So it's easy to forget that you have no contract with this insurance company that you feel compelled to work so closely with to help the poor homeowner. I get it. I'm watching a lot of restoration companies become PAs or entertain the idea of becoming a public adjuster just so they can fight legally against the insurance company because they want to feel victorious. They want to put that cape back on. We put the cape on as a restoration company. We go in the middle of the night, in a big disaster, help people out. That feels good. It fills our cup up and it feeds our soul. But now we've got this new fight, and we want to fight that. We want to become PAs and help them fight against that. If that's your path, great, take it. But it's not required. We can arm the customer with the power and the knowledge and the rights that they already inherently have to fight their insurance company. We have to remind them their positioning with them, with us, and everything. But we're the experts. So we have all the training. We're the experts. We love to allow the insurance companies to send us back a list of their recommendations. Blah, 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 blah. I don't listen to it. They're not right. Maybe some of them are ex-restoration guys. Why are they not restoration people anymore? What, did they wash out? They now are just coming from a place where they have a different motive. It's profit. They're not telling you that you're doing the wrong thing by these ways. They're just telling you they don't want to pay for them because they are line items that equal, in magnitude, millions of dollars. So just remember that. You aren't obligated to cut your bill at all. Do the job, invoice for it, collect what you charge for. It's easy to forget that you're taking on the risk of this, the financial risk. Insurance companies have, at this point, only collected money. They have made money. They have charged premiums to the homeowner. They now invest that in the open market and make money off of that money. It's proven. They report how much they make off of just that. It's staggering how much they make off of not paying claims for a period of time. At this point, when they're calling you and you're still fighting for them to get paid for what you've already done a month ago, 2 months ago, remember, they haven't put out a dime. There's nothing. They've got no money in the game yet. What they're trying to do is minimize how much they will have. But don't forget that they're coming from a point they can wait you out all year. And if you're not making your customer accountable to push on their insurance company and to pay you, you're just inheriting that risk. No one asked you to do that. You chose to. Stop it. It's causing you to have all these other symptoms I'm talking about, this burnout. A lot of what we're doing is, and there's an old saying, I have seen the enemy, and it is myself. You've heard that. We create our own chaos. We don't onboard the customer right. We don't frame it in the right way that the customer is going to owe us for our invoice, like the plumber, like the HVAC, like the pool guy, like the deck guy. Everybody that works on a house, new siding, new roof, new gutters, they get paid. We don't. We become the bank. We carry the note. I don't know why. Another example of what this is doing is it's distracting you and your company, your team, from being what the public is yearning for. I've got a theory that I talk about now that, especially post-COVID, especially in this new customer service or lack of industry of all trades and services, you can't really go many places like a service company or a retail outlet and experience bad service, whether that be from a cashier or people that work there or mistakes or long lead times and lack of communication, you name it. We have control over that. We have control over the experience that our customer has. I do what's called a journey map in my coaching. I think you should be mapping out a journey for the touch points that your customer has. Every opportunity for your customer to say, wow. And I mean it. It's a lot of work, but you have the energy. You're using your energy to fight the insurance company. Use your energy to to wow this customer. They will get you paid then, but wow them every turn. Wow, why doesn't every contractor do that? Wow, that technician is an awesome woman or man. Wow, I didn't expect that. They went above and beyond. Wow, they did exactly what they said they would do. Wow, 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 wow. Design it that way. Become the company that everybody in town says, man, I'll tell you what, they're expensive, but they are worth it. People pay money for their iPhones. They pay a lot of money for their phones. They pay a lot of money for Starbucks coffee. I'm drinking $1.25 coffee today. It's better than Starbucks, really. Excuse me. So the public is yearning, begging for quality. When you're focus on training your team, focus on creating an army of elite customer service assassins, not just fighting to get collected. Does that make sense? I hope so. And then it's easy to forget that when we're not all together as one in this industry and we're separated, we're easy to pick apart. Any military expert and strategist will tell you, separate thy enemy and you can annihilate thy enemy. If there is a real subliminal idea that if the insurance industry wants us separated, because they're connected, they've got unity. They're all one being going for one thing. They've got 1,000 little systems and processes all designed to do one thing, which is to make them profitable. They've got a system figured out. We don't. And we can do that together. Guys and gals, I can't tell you how many more times that we developed AIR, the Alliance of Independent Restorers, $440 a year. Nothing. That is a small amount. It just provides just a little bit of back end work, but we have a contractors who are together trying to do something. We're not a TPA. We're not selling your information to anyone. We're not taking any more money from you. Our members are connected. We're having chapters. We want to do more things. We have perks. But realistically, you just have a group of like-minded people who have a belief system like you do. There are other examples of this in the industry, and I don't care where you go, but do something with the industry. Connect to those of us that are fighting for you that don't even know you. If you're listening to this podcast and we've never met, I'm rooting for you. I'm fighting for you in this industry, and I don't even know you. I'm not doing it just because I can get another client. We've got a waiting list right now. We don't need any more clients. I need more coaches. I'm like you. I've got as much work right now that I think we can handle for full-blown clients. So we're doing some new things in the new year. We're going to do a membership group so we can coach one-to-many, large groups. But I'm not doing this for that. I'm doing this because this is the right thing, and I'm going to be great for it. I'm going to feel great for it. This feeds my passion. So I've talked all about the what, the why are we doing this? Now let's talk about the outcomes. I really, really came back from Montana, reminded myself that I want to be more of an outcomes-oriented person. Results. It's easy to sit and bitch and moan and fight. And I made a post this morning and got a lot of people fired up about stop with the O&P conversation. Stop taking your O&P off of mitigation and believing this myth that O&P doesn't exist for mitigation. All of this stuff. So if you're watching this and you still think O&P is for three trades, that's a myth. It's a lie. People asked me today, can you prove the source of that? I said, you believed it without proof that it was true, so why do you need proof that it's untrue? It's not. Xactimate, look up Xactimate white paper O&P. They say it themselves. It doesn't matter how many trades there are. But I make those posts, and I don't make them to be argumentative. I want to incite and spark conversation and remind people of the things that we think we believe are just emotional things. They're not real, and we can do better. So I want to talk about what I call steps to advance here. Just a couple of things here. I want you to, if it means going to Montana, I can recommend a place. It's great. Whatever it is, it's a coffee shop. It's a park if the weather's good enough. It's for a weekend. Go somewhere and remind yourself of your passion, of your why. Ask yourself the hard question, do I really want to do this? Now, if you're just still in this business and you don't like it but you don't know what else to do, that's a tough spot. And I guarantee you're not growing your company the way you could. It's not even going to be worth much if you're not growing it that has a good EBITDA and a good valuation, because it doesn't have your energy behind it. It takes a lot to grow a valuable company, a strong, resilient, valuable company. But you need to go find your passion. If it's in this and you've lost your way, go find your way. The results are incredible. Go find your way. Go find your passion. Go find your why. And then re-engage with it. Ask yourself, don't just find it. Ask yourself what behaviors are going to feed that, are going to allow me to live my passion, to let this be a very comfortable company, a very a great life, a great living, blah, blah, blah. So it's one thing just to find it again, but ask yourself, what's it going to take for me to live it? So when I came back from my trip, and almost every year I do this, I have a lot of stuff to work on, but I come back with two columns on one piece of paper. Things I'll do more of, or to-do list almost, like behavior-wise, action-wise, and then another things I won't do. Things I will do that will feed to my passion, and things that I won't do that take away from that. And some of those things are less social media, spending my time and giving away free online. I love to do it, but it's not serving my passion. I'm trying to create companies and create more wealth with more revenue so I can do more pro bono stuff. I love to serve on boards and panels and help other people find solutions. I can't do that if I'm not growing my company. So I've got to, I had to kind of look at, it's called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You've got to make sure you're stability and secure before you can start doing some of these higher esteem things. So that's on my to-do list. My other to-do list is not get emotional about the insurance company. Remind myself of what I'm saying here today. It's not personal. They're not here to attack Clark or Chad or Nick. They're not here to attack us. Honestly, they don't think about us. Well, they're on to the next claim. We're just a name in a folder in a claim they've got on their desk that they've got to get cleared off. Remember that. So re-engage with your passion, whatever that takes. If it means, I gave you one earlier, if the collections are something that really get to you, have someone else do that. Train someone else competent to do your collections and tell them what you need done. They're probably going to do better than you will, and they won't be mad about it. Put systems in place where you just don't talk to the insurance companies. I'm telling you right now, it'll be the best thing you ever did. Everyone has their rock bottom. It's kind of like alcoholics. Once you get tired of it and you hit a point where you're like, I'm not dealing with them anymore, you'll be like, why didn't I do this long time ago? Believe me, it's true. Then I want you to commit to yourself. Don't commit to me. Don't commit to your staff. Don't commit to your spouse. Commit to yourself. You're either going to do it or you're not, but it's not going to be anybody else's fault if you don't, and it's not going to be anybody else's, nobody else gets the credit if you do. It's you. So commit to doing it. It's kind of like working out. If you don't go to the gym, that's you. It's up to you. People may want you to go, but they're not going to make you. Nobody's going to drag you in there. So just commit to do the things and to do the things you said you would do. Don't catch yourself falling back into the old habits. I catch people all the time. Half of my job as a coach is to hold people accountable. Say, we're getting back into some bad habits. Oh, yeah, you're right. Blah, blah, blah. Re-engage, refocus, move forward, grow, do well. But it takes that little bit of get back in your lane. Solve issues. This is a big one. Solve issues. We coach EOS, Entrepreneur Operating System. It's a book called Traction by Gino Wickman. That as a program, we help clients put that into their business. It's spectacular. It's just the best. And one of the things about the whole thing, because it's all about clarity and simplicity, is there's a whole section. A part of your company becomes solving issues. They're not problems. They're just challenges. and you've got to get them in front of you and your management team, your leadership team. You have to solve them. You can't just treat the problem and move on without the source being fixed. You've got to solve issues right there. If it's major, do it immediately. If it's not so major, put that on your 30-day, 60-day thing to solve, because it's causing you an issue with either people or money or both, their clients' experience or whatever. But don't just keep it. One of them could be your collections process. You keep saying year after year, I'm going to do things differently, and you don't do them. You didn't solve a problem. You just let it fester. Good news doesn't get better when you ignore it. Bad news. Sorry. Bad news, bad things, bad news, bad issues don't generally improve on their own. They usually improve with force to come against them. Steps to advance, just fall back into a create and grow mindset. Spend a portion of your week, time block, get on your calendar, go elsewhere from your office. If you can, close your office door. No one bothers you with those idiotic questions that you let people ask you all day long. Stop all that. But spend some time where you're going to sit and create. That might mean you're taking a class. It might mean you're consuming a podcast by Clark. It might mean that you're watching something on LinkedIn, or who knows? It could be that you're just watching, you're watching Tony Robbins, whatever it is. But get in the right mind space to become abundant minded and not scarcity. There is more than enough work out there for you. Everybody that's watching and listening, there's no shortage of revenue and money for you to make. Money is kind of endless. I'm watching young people with no talent on YouTube, kids making hundreds of thousands a month, sometimes millions. Women and men on OnlyFans to show their feet, making obscene amounts of money. But this comes from a positive mindset. This is not from fighting insurance company and getting negative. And then lastly, this is the hardest one. This is hard. Get ready. Hold on to your chair. Delegate. Let go. The more you think you control in your business, the less you actually control. Your tight grip is giving you arthritis. You're getting carpal tunnel from holding on to every task in the company because you don't have the ability. You haven't trained anyone. Maybe you haven't found the right people to delegate to. So that's where you start. Go back to the previous thing I just said. Create a way for you to learn to hire the right people. We coach people all the time on this. You don't necessarily know how to hire great people. All you've ever done is work. Now this is a whole new muscle you've never used before. If you've got the right people on your staff, delegate. Tell them what needs to be done. Tell them what the accountability is going to be, how you're going to measure it on, and let them go with it. Let them make mistakes. Let them mess up. Learn from them. Have after actions, and keep going. Don't let the burnout. You will have all this time. There's no reason for you to fight and do everything. You've got people there, probably on your team, waiting, saying, give us something, coach. We didn't come here just to be worker bees. Help us. Help us grow. Help us improve. Let us help you. If they care about you, they don't want to see you do this anymore. If they don't care and they're just like, boss man and boss woman is just freaking the freak out and fighting insurance companies, and we're just going to come over here and clock in, clock out, and take what money we can as long as it lasts. Wrong people. Wrong company, wrong culture. You've built that. Change that up. One of my clients did a long meeting with his team yesterday, an impromptu meeting. So we're a family. It's not just a keyword. He didn't say it just to say, hey, everyone, we're just family. He's like, everyone here, he has 34 employees. Everyone has a different personality. He said, but you're here for a reason. You serve a role in the company, but you also fit. You also fit. Some days you have bad days. Families have bad days. Siblings, parents, aunts and uncles, grandpas. Everybody fights. But he said, but we're a family, and we're going to work through it, and then we're here for each other, and tomorrow it's going to be, I wouldn't do this with anybody else. Build that in your company. Delegate this stuff. To wrap up episode 18. This was really important. This was much different podcast than I normally do, but I was watching a good friend of mine, Peter, in this restaurant. He got out of this business. I know a lot of people that have gotten out of remediation for this. They miss it. They miss what we do because they were good at it and they loved doing it, but it wasn't working the way they were doing it. And it's not working the way. So I'm convinced. I'm hard-headed, but I'm convinced we can overcome this. We probably will not change the activities of the insurance companies, but we can change how the public perception of that is. People say, how is too many? When there's only 2% of our industry using the same language and helping change the vernacular, helping change the narrative, it's going to take a long time. But it's everybody that is a lurker and passive person that says that'll be somebody else's. You're going to continue to struggle in your company because you're not being part of the solution, whether it be for your own company or for the industry. But if you aren't an action taker, the problems you have, you can't completely blame on others. You've got to blame yourself. Really, really hard talk, really hard truth there. But I ask everybody, if you want to know how to fit in, just reach out to me. I can, there's places where for everybody to get into this. I think we all need to, as an industry, onboard our customers. I'm not the only person that talks about this. Everyone does. Use the standards. Use your expertise. Use your training. Remind the customer that they're in charge. None of this is novel. This is not trademark shit. This is all just stuff that I've put into one place. So just be the best you can be in your community. Don't let the insurance company burn you out to where you aren't doing great work. Believe it or not, the public still needs you. I know a lot of you, especially the most professional of you, go behind other preferred vendors, some not preferred vendors, and clean up their messes. So you know how many bad examples of restoration remediation contractors are out there. Let's don't add to that by you not being the best that you can be. I understand you're burnt out, but you've only got so much willpower, so much capacity. And when you're not at your top game, you're not doing your best work in your company. You're just not. You may think that I'm a hard worker and I'm doing it. You're not doing your best work. You know it. Your team knows it. I know it. The industry knows it. Quit kidding yourself. But find a way. So let's start shifting this fight. I'm still going to make comments. We're going to continue to bring the problems forward, but not for you to dwell on them, but as a reminder to go out there and just work on your company, work on your customer, perfect that. Be the voice that we all are trying to be. And let's just be a big unified yell instead of these little whispers about a few people doing it somewhere. Some people are just going to continue to work for the insurance companies, cut their bill, and then complain about their profits. Some people say they're doing fine on the programs. It may be. Someone asked me the other day, Clark, how about doing a podcast on those people that are doing well on programs? I don't know anybody personally. I mean, that doesn't mean they don't exist, but most people I know that are on programs or TPAs are messaging me, asking me how to get off of them. Same people that used to bash me for talking about them publicly. I'm not a fan, and I think it's a race to the bottom. And a lot of people have told me I need to shut up and quit saying all that stuff. And I haven't, and I won't. It's 23 and 3s coming up, and I'm still going to say the same thing. That's a race to the bottom. I think you know it. I know it. But don't let it own you. Don't let it just consume you. Let your drive and passion consume you. Let your desire to overcome. If you're struggling with the same problems right now as you did last November, that's a problem. Overcome. That's it for my podcast. I'd like to thank everybody for listening. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Kahi. Kahi Asset Management is a great platform with hardware and software for tracking some of your most valuable equipment, your drying equipment, your vehicles, your things like that. It's a great passive system, AI learning. And then Kahi is giving a 10% off the hardware if you use the word podcast in the when you contact kahi.io and use the word podcast. They'll give you 10% off all of it, which is not really overly expensive, but all of your hardware that you'll use for tracking, you'll save a couple pieces of equipment that don't get lost, and you've paid for the whole thing for your company. It's a great deal. I know a lot of people using it, and it's really growing in its in that space. So glad to have them as a sponsor, and glad for their support, and glad for your support. If you have any questions or comments, let me know, and let's do this together. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.